All right, so I'm going to start off by writing the template. How many of you did your template SUVs over total cars? Okay, that's fine, but I want you to add something to your template if you haven't done so already. I'll start it out the way you did, SUV over cars or total cars. I want you to start getting used to the vocabulary of part, whole, and percent. Which is the part, the SUV or the total cars? I'm going to give that a P and this a W. Okay, get used to that because your part will always be the top part of your ratio and the whole will always be on the bottom. Okay, take a look at the first part of the word problem. 24 out of 60 are SUVs. That 24, is that the part or is that the whole? Julian? So that's the top part of my ratio. Therefore, 60 is what? The whole. What are they asking you to find? Well, percent is always the top number of the second ratio over what?
100?
That never changes. It's always going to be a number over 100. When I tell my students year after year, when you have a percent, when they give you a percent, they're giving you an entire ratio. Something over 100. Sometimes they give it to you where you have to find the other parts of the given ratio. But look for percent because that's going to be something over 100. The secret to doing this is in the setup. If you set it up properly, you're right back to kind of what you've been doing all along. Yeah.
Well, I did it a little bit different. I realized that 6 can go into both of them, so I divided them by 6. And then I got 4 over 10. And then
We're going to get to that.
40.
We're going to get to that. Okay? He did it. His strategy is a strategy that I'm going to show you now. What this was trying to show you is that when you try to take a look and say, okay, can I make a connection here? Well, 60 can't go into 100 evenly. So you cannot use constant directly. You can't do it. You can, but it's going to make things more difficult. When you try to look at this to see if there's a connection, which is multiplicative structure, 24 can't go into 60 evenly. Now, if you get stuck, I already told you, you can take any fraction and make it a percent. You could do it like your 5/8, your 6/8, and your 7/8. You could set it up with 60 on the outside and then put 24.00 on the inside. Did anybody do it that way? And you'll get the right answer if you do it that way. So we have about maybe 6 or 7 kids that did it that way. Can I show you an easier way? Well, I think it's an easier way. We've learned this. Scale this ratio down. And that's what Julian did. So what did you scale it down to?
I realized that 6 goes into both of them, so I did 24 divided by 6 equals 4. And then 60 divided by 6 equals 10.
Yeah. What he did was he made an equivalent ratio for 24/60ths. What makes that very advantageous to him and to you is now we can take this second percent ratio and now we can make a connection. 10 times what is 100, everybody?
10.
Whatever you do to the bottom, you've got to do to the top. 4 times 10, 40% is your answer. I had some kids that did it this way and actually scaled it down to the value of the ratio. They're both divisible by 12. If you do it that way, you wind up with 2/5, and guess what? 2/5 is in your fraction family. It's 40%. Okay? Either way, when you crunch that first fraction or that first ratio and make it so it's usable, a usable fraction. I call this a usable fraction or ratio because you can make a connection here. I think that's easier than doing long division. Trist.
I did mine, I scaled it down by 3.
What'd you wind up with?
8 over 20 times 5.
Yep, that'll work too. As long as it becomes usable. This is usable because 20 can go into 100. What I can't do is 12 over 30. I could, if I split this and divide it by 2, I know I'm writing, it's getting a little busy here, but you're going to get 12 over 30, and this is still not a usable number because 30 can't go into 100. So dividing by 4 will work, dividing by 6 will work, and dividing by 12 will work.
I think 30.
I'll take a look and say. Okay? And remember, go back and always revisit the question. Well, what are they asking us? They're asking us for percent. So when you go to the very bottom, you've got to say 40% are SUVs. Kind of working backwards here. When we scaled it down, we wound up using constant. And although I'm not going to write any of this out, we scaled down the original ratio. Or you found value of ratio. That's what I would write in this place right here.
I see what I did. I did the division, and I did 60 equals to 246 times.
Okay. All right, next page. So again, get used to the vocabulary percent, part, and whole. So based on this question, the first thing that we want to identify is, well, what are they asking us to find? The percent, the part, or the whole? No. So I'm going to put that here, percent. That's the gist of the question. That's what we have to identify. That's what we have to find. And what are they giving you? Well, anything that you're not trying to find is what they have to give you. Part and whole. How you set it up is everything. That is the most important part. If you just want to write part over whole and abbreviate the letters, that's good, because all it does is just show us where things are going to go when we set everything up. All right, let's break it down. 5 of the 25. When you see this word of, think about a ratio. 5 of 25. That 5, part or whole? Olivia?
Part.
Absolutely. Parts on top. Out of. That makes the whole. They're asking us to find percent. We don't know. But we do know the bottom part, because it's always something over what? And when you look at that whole entire thing, do we need to scale anything down? Can we make a connection?
Yeah.
We can make 2 connections, because either way will work. What'd you do?
I did 25.
Yup, if you go this way, it'll certainly work. And you get 20. If you go this way, what's your multiplicative structure? Times what? Just say it.
5.
And it works this way too. 20 times 5 is 100. And then just answer the question. Got to say to yourself, okay, what do we find? Was it that 20 is what? It's 20%. Play travel, right? Is that what they ask? Oh, okay. I think the next one's travel, right? Which we're going to do next. So 20% are 7th graders, yes? All right. Gotcha. All right, let's do the next one together. Since we're talking about sports, read that quietly to yourself, and let's see if we can set it up. Maybe I'll call somebody up. If you could set it all up yourself on the board, I'll give you a ticket. But read through it first and get it in your head, what's what. All right, so Sal's our guest instructor. Set it up, Sal.
you're trying to find the part of also play on the travel team.
Okay, and then where's the 40 coming from?
20%.
Okay, how does that look? Remember, when you have a percent and they give you the percent, you have an entire ratio, 40 over 100. And in this case, what are we trying to find, everybody? Say it out loud.
Part.
The part. Do we need to scale down?
No.
No.
All right, make the connection and do it.
So then 10 times 4 equals 40.
Everybody get 10? Now again, you just have to be careful because I had kids this morning that when they put this answer in the answer line, they put 10%. It's not 10%, it's 40%. That 40% is 10 out of 25 girls that play travel. So it's 10 girls that play travel. Give them a round of applause. Good job. All right, so guest instructing for exercise 3 is Antonio. We can't use your last name. It's Antonio F. Set it up, Antonio F.
First, we'll have the part
Over the hole.
and the
Very
hole.
nice.
I like to draw the lines first. So then they gave us the part. It's 12 games because it says the team won 12 games.
Yep. Sounds good.
And
What are they
then
asking you to
since
find?
they're asking us to find, how many games did they play this season?
Is that the part of the hole?
That's the whole.
Okay, make a box for the hole.
Oh.
That's the unknown. Okay.
And then we know 80%.
Okay.
80
How many
and 100.
have this set up? So don't go too far. You're tethered to me here. Do you need to scale down? Can 12 go into 80 evenly?
No.
We're going to need to scale down, and it's a tricky one because in order to do it, you have to actually go all the way down to the value of the ratio. All right, Julian, come on up. Don't go too far. Keep yourself wired because he can still hear you. You can still use that mic. Oh, let me just do this.
Have that marker.
Look out. Getting all okay. So what did you change 80
Well, I
hundredths to?
divided it by 20
Okay.
and got 4/5. And 4 times
There it is. That's the magical key.
and then 15.
All right, let's just step aside so everybody can see that. And I'll just kind of talk everybody through this. This is what he did. If you scale this down, if you divide by 2, move back a little bit. If you divide by 2, that's going to get you to 40 over 50, and that still can't help us. If you divide them both by 10, you get 8 over 10, still doesn't help us. You had to go all the way to the value of the ratio, 4 to 5, in order to then make a connection and say, okay, 4 times 3 makes 12. 5 times 3 makes the total amount of games, which is 15, and that's your answer.
What do you divide by to get to the value of the ratio?
Divided both top and the bottom by 20. Okay? You can do it in stages. Let's just say you have, if I can just write you off with a fresh page. Let's just say you can't see that you can divide both by 20 right away. I'm going to get rewired. If you can't see, and it's okay if you can't see, divide by 20 for both. Have a seat, guys, so they could say. Start with somewhere. Start breaking it down in small steps if you need to. Even if it means 40 over 50. Divide by 2, okay? All right, divide by 2 again. 20 over 25. Still doesn't work. Now say, okay, let me go by 5, because I know this is why those divisibility rules are crucial. You've got to know pretty readily what number goes into both. And then eventually you get to a usable ratio where you can make a connection between 4/5 and 12 over something. Okay, so you don't have to. It's like eating a pizza. You could either take large bites or small bites, but eventually you got to get down to one slice. Okay, you got to get down to a usable number. So that means starting out. Okay, I know 2 goes into both. Start off with 2. Keep crunching it and crunching it and crunching it until you have a usable ratio. Okay, you ready for your homework? What you're going to start? You have 5 minutes left. You just basically, I want you to do all of page 10. But as you'll see, there's really 4 problems on page 10. Okay? The introduction, the stuff that's above the chart is very important information because kids are getting hung up on what the whole is for this particular page. All right? There's no real time to group up, so try to get it started on your own. And if you need to see me, come up and see me. Oh, I know. All right, ready? How many total animal exhibits are at the zoo? Steven?
4.
No.
Wait, 60.
Read the introduction above the chart.
60.
Okay, there are 60 total. Whenever you see that word total, think whole. That's your whole. All right. There's four different groups of animals. You have your mammals, your reptiles, amphibians, your fish, insects, and your birds. We don't know how many mammals there are, but they do tell you there is 50% out of the 60. So let's do this. What are they giving you? The part or the whole? Well, what's the whole? It's in the introduction.
60, so we're giving it a part.
They're giving you the whole, John. We're trying to find this part. What part are mammals? What's the percent? Okay, but what's the percent? You want to step further.
50.
And then at that point, you can use multiplicative structure. And then what'd you get, Andrew?
30.
There's 30 out of 60 are mammals exhibits. Okay? What's good about this is that your whole will never change for all. You can have a whole of 60 for every one. But as you get to each one of these, they're going to ask for different things. They're going to keep going back and forth between finding the part and finding the percentage.